Hey, Greg Silva. Hey, we're still into strength. Again, the kind of the co-title for this month is Hustle for the Muscle. We started last week talking about arm wrestling. And we're kind of using arm wrestling because it's brand new. It's kind of be fun and exciting for the kids. Plus, it ties into that great parent night out when we do the movie Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone. You know, I'm a lot older than most of you people, so the movie seems kind of new to me, but it's probably ancient. I mean, Sylvester Stallone's probably 40 years old at the most in it, but it's a great movie to show kids. It's kid friendly, and it really ties into what we're talking about, strength. Because we're talking about strength, we're talking about mental strength and physical strength. We're using arm wrestling again because arm wrestling is kind of a macho thing to do when people want to see who's the strongest. Hey, let's arm wrestle, see who's the strongest. But as we know, just like with martial arts, to be a good arm wrestler, there's technique, there's attitude, so it's mental strength and physical strength. How strong you are, plus you don't want to make sure you don't want to give up and you want to know those techniques. And today, it's all about giving up. You're arm wrestling, you're getting tired, maybe you're on the losing side right now and you want to give up. No, that's no different than in martial arts. If we have the kids do push-ups, and especially with the beginner kids classes, when they get to 10 or 12, you know, they're getting pretty sore. Going through their mind is, I want to give up, which we've probably taught before. It's not a bad thing. When things get really difficult, people don't want to give up, or they want to give up. But the whole idea is if they're going to get their black belt, or they're going to have the attitude of a black belt, they have to push themselves through it and do as much as they possibly can. Now, it's the same thing in arm wrestling. So we're talking arm wrestling. We say, hey, guys, let's review. Last week was all about technique. Remember, we did the arm wrestling. The first thing we did is when they said go, we're going to pull our opponent's hand towards us. That's going to give us more strength because we have more leverage, and it's going to give them less strength. Now, even if you know that technique and you're arm wrestling, you're going to get to a point where maybe you're not winning. You're going the wrong way, and you go, man, I'm not doing very good. You know, it's like before my arm breaks, I want to give up, and you just give up. Well, we don't do that in martial arts, do we? Because we know that we may have challenges for a black belt, and we're prepared for that. When things get tough, we're going to keep going. So today, let's just kind of talk about that. When you're arm wrestling and you get tired, what do you think's happening to your opponent? Do you just think he feels refreshed? No, he's getting tired too. And even though he may be winning, he may be getting so tired that he just wants to give up. It's the person that has the most perseverance now that has a chance to win. If you just said, hey, I'm getting tired, I may not win this, I give up, and let your hand fall back, hey, you lost. But the important thing is to go down with as much effort as possible. I mean, that's all about black belt. If we're in a competition and our opponent's beating us 2-1, do we just stop and give up? No, absolutely not. I mean, we have to have that competitive attitude. If we're going to do anything good, if we're going to do good at martial arts, we're going to do good on our black belt test, we're going to do good at school, we're going to do good at video games, we have to have the attitude when things get tough, the tough get going. And we're not going to give up. So that's the whole thing today. When you're teaching this class, you may want to kind of pre-frame this or preface this with having to do an exercise and have them get to the point where they want to give up. My favorite for doing this is arm circles. I'll get the kids doing arm circles and I'll have them do bigger arm circles, backwards, slower, faster, up and down, back and forth, open, close the hands. And when you start seeing that they're getting out of that horse stance, have them drop a little into a horse stance and now their knees are bent. They're still doing the arm circles. When you see their faces start contorting, you know there's some people who want to give up. And then you just ask, who wants to give up? And because they're martial arts kids, they go, I don't want to give up. I go, well, is it a bad thing to want to give up? Yes. No, not really. When things get tough, it's a natural reaction for people to want to stop and want to give up. But if things are really important, if goals are really important, we have to persevere. Just like in when you're doing arm wrestling. When you're doing arm wrestling, you may want to get to a point where, hey, I'm not going to win this. But even if you get to that point and you want to give up, just think about your opponent. He may be in a better position, but he's getting tired too. Who's going to be the strongest? Not in physical strength, but who's going to be strongest mentally and not give up? Really, really important lesson this way. We got to hustle for the muscle. And when we start getting tired, we still got to hustle. Hustle just means trying your hardest over and over and over again. So that's your lesson. You make my words your words. But really talk about them. I keep saying the movie because I wanted you to show that Sylvester Stallone movie Over the Top, because there's a lot of points you see in their faces and everything where people just want to give up, but it's the perseverance. And anything with Sylvester Stallone, like his Rocky movies, he always is the underdog, and because he's the underdog, people are rooting for him, and he's just got a great attitude, doesn't give up. That's why I like this movie for this month's lesson. I just think it's really cool to have. Now we have drills that are doing things that we can't give up. We're doing drills for better technique. Next week we're going to do drills for attitude. So it all falls in. The Parents Night Out with the movie, that falls into it again. And of course, the worksheet and the activity sheets with Black Belt Excellence. Perfect program for empowering children. Enjoy.